Ladies and gentlemen, the semi-finals of GP Warsaw are about to begin, and here we see Louis Bachaud, the 3rd seed, facing off against Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, the 7th seed. Sultai Energy against 4-color Energy. This might be a quick affair.
It could easily be over quickly if Louis manages to land a long tusk cup or a glint sleeve siphoner, then have blossoming defense to protect it. Well, there we have one of the two. Louis Bachaud, a player from Lyon, bronze pro. He mentioned blossoming defense as the MVP of his deck because, as he mentioned, his deck is all about protecting key threats, especially all of those powerful 2-drops.
Like glint sleeve siphoner.
Yeah.
That it's in play for Louis Bachaud, and he also played it off of an ether hub, so that means he would be able to draw a card on his at the beginning of his 3rd turn. But unfortunately, that gets magma sprayed by Jean-Emmanuel Depraz. So let's see what else Louis came up with. Uses the ether hub and the energy to get a tune with ether off. This is going to make his mana that much more smoother, and I'm pretty sure he's going to follow it up with another good 2-drop.
Long tusk cup might be good here. It could already turn into a 3-3 with the energy that Louis has available. Although 3-3 is not big enough to survive Harness Lightning, and also not the best attacker into Rogue Refiner. As it turns out, a Braid is the answer that Jean-Emmanuel Depraz has up his sleeve.
The question is on who's the beatdown, and so far Louis Bachaud seems to want to be the aggro deck. Doesn't have the 4th land though after playing a Rogue Refiner here. Let's see if Jean-Emmanuel Depraz can start punishing him here. He does have a 4th land. I see a Long Tusk Cup, a Harness Lightning, and maybe even a Servant of the Conduit. So let's see which player will make the first move here. Louis Bachaud found a 4th land, and I think I saw a Rishkar Pima Renegade in his hand as well. Also a Fatal Push, so he might start attacking here finally with the shields down for just a moment.
Yeah, and with Rishkar plus Fatal Push, he can also double spell this turn, play 2 cards that affect the board in a relevant way. So this is going well for Louis. What Louis may be fearing at this point, without knowing Jean-Emmanuel's hand, is Glorybringer on the next turn. But nope, just Harness Lightning, Servant of the Conduit, and now a freshly drawn Chandra for Depraz.
Yeah, Chandra still seems like a good card, but Jean-Emmanuel, I think he's going to take it a little slow here, with starting off with the Harness Lightning, take care of the Rishkar.
Yeah, and then maybe Jean-Emmanuel is hoping to, well, I was gonna say deploy Chandra on the next turn on an empty board, but yeah. That is not going to work, not against the hand that Louis is working with. Seems like he has all the tools he needs to establish a good board presence early on in this matchup.
And there's a Winding Constrictor, another Fatal Push, so keeping the board clear here and swinging for 4, so Depraz down to 12 here. A good set of draws here for Louis, not only having threats, but also having some answers as well, so a good mix of cards.
Yeah, and being mana efficient as well, that's also important. You have to get out on board and get some tempo advantage by trading a 1-mana card for a 2-mana card.
There's a Vuillot Virtuoso here, putting Depraz up to 5 energy, so that means 1 top 2 token potential here.
So Depraz is still hoping to get to a situation where he can deploy Chandra and have her live for another turn cycle.
Yeah, but that's a big play here. Rishkar Pima Renegade on the board together with a Winding Constrictor means that the number of +1/+1 encounters is doubled. So that makes the Winding Constrictor into 4/5. And the Rogue Refiner is one of the biggest I've ever seen, a 6/5 already.
Yeah, you don't see it that big usually. And Depraz doesn't really have any good blocks here. He won't be able to trade for any of the attackers, even if he makes a Topter as an additional blocker. If he doesn't block, then he would fall down to 2 life already, against a deck that also features Walking Ballista, far from a safe proposition. And working with only a Chandra in hand, which is not the best catch-up card, this is gonna be tough for Depraz.
Yeah, even the biggest thing about that is that Chandra minus deals 4 damage to creature,
yeah,
but
it's not even enough.
Yeah, not even enough. They're 2 5 toughness creatures already. So Jean-Emmanuel Depraz stuck between a rock and a hard place, or between a snake and hard place maybe. Snake's really big.
Between a snake and a rock refiner.
Yeah, a rock refiner. All right, let's see. So it looks like he took all the damage. So Louis Bachaud just added a Botanical Sanctum. to the battlefield. One card left, and looks like Depraz with just that Chandra that we just talked about.
So Depraz can live for another turn by playing Chandra, shooting Rishkar, making a Topter and double jumping, but then I'm not sure if there's anything from the top of his deck that can help him get out of this.
Alright, so he's plussing, hit a Rootbound Crag, it's going to deal 2, and then he's going to wrap them up. So as I said, quick and fast, these players are not messing around.
Yeah, the deck worked perfectly for Louis in the way that he was hoping. Getting to be on the play certainly also helps when you have a relatively aggressive strategy. And, well, we may see some sideboard swaps for the next game. But in general, the two decks will keep the same roles. Louis will be the aggressor, and Depraz will try to defend.
Yeah, we'll have a quick look at what's going on table 2. So the other semi-final between Vuillot and Valerio Luminati. As you see, the life total is fairly high, and it's a classic energy mirror match here. Even though one player has some black cards, the other one doesn't. And Vuillot in his element, playing a tune with Ether.
So seems to be fairly even at this point, looking at the board and the life totals. It's certainly useful to have a lot of Topters. Note that Luminati also has 7 energy, so it can go up to 4 Topters. On the other hand, Vuillot is the one who is having an active Planeswalker on the battlefield. Who knows what that Chandra might provide. But if Vuillot won't be able to set up a reasonable defense for the Topters, then those Topters threaten to attack Chandra to take her down. And then, well, Vuillot is still facing an Air Force.
Well, I mean, Super Friends, Vraska and Chandra back in action. And looks like I think Sam will think about plussing Chandra just to get a 2/2 Pirate on board and just put that loyalty out of reach for Valerio Luminati, even with 7 energy.
Yeah, the effects that Vraska might give are, well, neither of them are particularly useful. Killing something on the board, there's nothing really all that exciting worth killing. The 2/2 token, not the best blocker, not for a 2/3, but it's all about upping the loyalty, because there's only so much damage that the Luminati can dish out in this combat step, and I don't think he will be able to get both Planeswalkers off of the battlefield.
We'll see here. Looks like he has a bunch of cards. Luminati with a lot of cards in his hand. Glorybringer? Looks like a Glorybringer to me.
Yeah, it would
he
be
has 4,
good
right?
Here. Well, if he has Glorybringer, then he can at least get close to getting both Planeswalkers off the battlefield. He can, if he wants to, exert it to get rid of the, well, the potentially chump blocking pirate token. Attack Chandra with 4 Topters, and then put 6 damage in the face of Vraska. And Vraska at 2 loyalty doesn't have great abilities, especially when she is threatened to get pressured by 4 more Topters on the next turn. Yeah. So this is a great turn for Luminati.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't see much reason to exert here. I mean, he does get rid of the pirate, but it wouldn't have traded value profitably anyway.
That is true, but if Luminati is expecting that Vuillot has Harness Lightning up on the next turn to kill the Glorybringer, then at least you got some value out of it.
I like the thinking behind that. He actually chooses to kill Vraska and keep Chandra around, so much more scared of making sure the Glorybringer stays on the battlefield.
All right. Well, in a sense, Vraska is a better Planeswalker.
Sure.
6 mana versus 4 mana. That's a good sign. But the effect that Vraska might have on the board on this particular turn, probably not as impactful as the +1 from Chandra, unless you just hit a land on top of the deck. So that worked out well for Luminati, his choice.
Yeah. Vuillot has another Vraska in his hand. Let's see if that can do a little bit more here. But Luminati still has a bunch of cards in his hand. I think I saw at least a Bristling Hydra. Alright, so It's going to be plus again for a pirate.
More jumpers.
Yeah.
All right.
More food for the Thopters.
So now Luminati can only deal 6 damage at most, and 4 is 4 damage he has safely locked up. He can easily take down Chandra if he wants to, and it's probably worth taking out at least one of the 2 planeswalkers this turn. You don't want to give Vuillot more free activations.
Yeah, and Luminati is dividing his creatures up already, so I think he's definitely looking at sending 3 Thopters at Chandra and the other 2 creatures at Vraska.
I like that.
To at least put her a little bit under control here, so that she doesn't get out of hand.
One way or another, Vraska will be able to kill Glorybringer on the next turn, which may be something that Vuillot is interested in.
Right, so Vraska down to 5. And looks like Luminati will keep adding to his board. 2 energy, and now I think we're going to see a Bristling Hydra from Luminati. That's going to put him up to 5 energy, and he can decide if he wants to keep that up for the Bristling Hydra, or maybe create an extra Thopter token. Options
is always good to have.
Yeah. So now Vuillot finally manages to use Vraska's minus, and he uses it on a Glorybringer that was just about to untap. Let's see if he has something else going on. I see a Rogue Refiner and a land. But Refiner is a good start as he's digging his way towards, I would assume, a Verla Virtuoso of his own, so he can at least start trading.
Yeah, that is probably the best thing that he can have right now, because those Thopters are making short work of Vuillot's Planeswalkers, and, well, eventually will also go after his life total. So it's hard for Vuillot to defend against that. Spot removal, like Harness Lightning, not particularly efficient against all of those 1/1 Thopters. Yeah, often these energy mirrors can turn into a bit of a board stall, where it's either about the 5 or 6 mana Haymakers, or the player with the biggest air force. And it looks like this may easily get decided by flying creatures.
Yeah, let's quickly see if Valerio Luminati draws a big card. Not sure what that was. But we have the other match ready. He's readying mana though. Let's see what he plays here, because he's playing fairly fast. So I'm just curious. He has another Bristling Hydra.
Looks like lands and Bristling Hydra to me.
Yeah, and 3 mana spell. Okay, Rogue Refiner. It's fair as well. More energy. This means more top and a Supreme Will. All right. So it looks like this match will still go on for a little while, and we'll definitely come back to it. So let's head on back to Louis Bachaud against Jean-Emmanuel and Depraz. Last game was quite fast, so we didn't want to miss too much of the action, and we didn't. Long Tusk Cub from Louis gets answered by a Braid from Jean-Emmanuel immediately, and now the power play at turn 3. Nissa's Steward of Elements for 1 counter, but immediately a +2 to take it up to 3 loyalty.
Yeah, Planeswalkers are so much better on the play when you can deploy them on an empty board, and this will favor the Prix at the moment. If the Prix would be on the draw, then that Nissa would likely just get packed off by an attacking creature immediately, but here she might get to do a lot of work.
Yeah. Nissa's great. Love the art and love the card. Just cry all the time, and or start getting cards in the battlefield for free. A 0, because Jean-Emmanuel,
right,
I think he knew about the Refiner from the Scry. It's always a great feeling getting the card advantage going. Now he'll be able to add to his board already with 2 energy as well. So a tune first. And certainly a follow-up. I would imagine a Verla Virtuoso would firmly clog up the ground and help Jean-Emmanuel just milk more value out of that Nissa.
Yeah, Depraz is far ahead here, and Bachaud doesn't have all that many ways of coming back from behind. His deck is not filled with powerful 5-drop plays. He's more relying on his 2-drops, trying to protect him with Blossoming Defense, and then maybe using a Hostage Taker to clear the way. But at this point, he does have Vraska's Contempt in his deck, to perhaps deal with the Planeswalker, and then he could come back from there. But yeah, Depraz is doing everything he had hoped to do on the play. Sideboarding is quite different depending on play or draw in this matchup. For example, as Seth Manfield recommended for the Sultai players, you should take out all of the fatal pushes when you're on the play. Take out only a couple when you're on the draw.
Sure.
And only put in Nissa when you're on the play, not when you're on the draw. Cards like Essence Scatter and Scarab God are always good in the matchup, but the value of certain cards depends a lot on whether you can expect to be ahead in the early turns when you get to be on the play.
There's a hostage taker from Louis Bachaud who takes the Vril of Virtuoso and also has the Rogue Refiner to attack Nissa, but I'm pretty sure that Jean-Emmanuel Depraz will sacrifice his own Rogue Refiner to block it. So those guys trade a smaller board, but with a firm advantage for Jean-Emmanuel Depraz. And I think I see a Chandra Torch of Defiance in Jean-Emmanuel's hand.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, that doesn't spell good news for Louis, that's for sure.
In general, taking Ruler Virtuoso with Hostage Taker is a nice play for the Sultai energy deck, because the deck is capable of generating a bunch of energy with, for example, Rogue Refiner, but it doesn't have all that many energy sinks. Long Tusk Up and Glint-Sleeve Siphoner are there, but that's pretty much it. If you are able to steal and then recast Ruler Virtuoso, that's a perfect energy sink to have. But in the face of that Chandra, that is unlikely to happen.
Alright, so there's the Chandra. I imagine a minus, there it is. So that kills the Hostage Taker, brings back the Vril of Virtuoso, and also 3 more energy to boot. And Jean-Emmanuel Depraz is running away with this one.
Oh yes. I mean, I've heard it being said that whenever there is a player who has multiple Planeswalkers on the battlefield and is capable of activating them on multiple consecutive turns, then it is super hard for that player to lose. And I think that will also hold for this game, because Bachaud was not in a position to pressure those Planeswalkers, and now the card advantage turn after turn is piling up.
Yeah, and now Jean-Emmanuel Depraz has even a nice combo with Nissa. He can scry to see what's on top of his library, and then plus Chandra to play the card that he actually wants to keep on top. So, and I think he just drew a Magma Spray as well that can easily deal with the Siphoner. So he's going to scry first.
It's a sweet interaction between those two Planeswalkers.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have to use it. He can use Chandra to plus to get some mana, because he still has quite a few cards in his hand. So he definitely has a bunch of options, and being so far ahead, I don't think it will matter that much what he's about to do here.
So 1 top, 1 bottom.
Plus Vraska.
How about a third Planeswalker?
Hey.
As if 2 wasn't enough.
Super friends.
Wow.
Really, and Louis Bachaud's like, he even goes for, look, I had the Magma Spray as well.
Yeah, I still had all these.
Yeah, Louis Bachaud is not impressed to me. Seems like, yeah, okay, well done. You know, one interesting fact is that 3 out of the top 4 players are actually French. One of the, a resurgence in French Magic we saw, of course, Guillaume Matignon made the top 8 at the Pro Tour last week, but in general, a lot of really solid results from French players over the past few weeks and months. So I'm certainly not surprised to see 3 out of 4. We're going to move to the other match here between Samuel Vuillot and Valerio Luminati. As expected, we're still in the same game that we left. I knew I wouldn't leave you guys hanging. We do see some Hydras being added to the board, but the huge Thopter army is still going on here for Valerio Luminati.
Vuillot did manage to find a Ruler Virtuoso of his own, and I also see a Thopter token on his side of the battlefield, but looks like he is still behind in the Thopter race, because energy pools appear to be empty. Thopters are gonna trade, and after the dust settles, there's still 3 Thopters, along with 2 Virtuosos left standing for Luminati.
Yeah, and the Cubs also joins the fray. There's 1 more energy from Valerio as he plays out this last card, an Ether Hub.
Vuillot is getting ready for the top of his deck.
It has to be a good one. Oh, Scarab God. Valerio claps him. Like, well done. You see both players having a good chuckle. Not sure how much that changes. He does have a treasure though, so Oh, he might be able to reanimate a Whirl Virtuoso to create some top tiers to block as well. Ooh, Sam Vuillot, I think he called it was a called shot. I'm pretty sure he wanted that Scarab God. I don't think there's any other card that would have this sort of impact.
Given the applause from Luminati, I like how he's taking it in stride. But yeah, we do have a game on our hands all of a sudden. If Vuillot uses his 3 lands and the treasure to bring back a Whirler Virtuoso, he has 3 blockers total. So he's not in danger of dying to an attack here.
If there's a Virtuoso in the graveyard, I don't see one in Luminati's graveyard. I don't see much of Sam's graveyard. There is one, yeah.
Yes, I'm pretty sure he has one.
Yeah, he does. So Valerio better had drawn a good card, because if Samuel Vuillot untaps, he'll be able to go wild. And to be fair, like, I have to eat my own words. I thought it was a done game, and now Samuel Vuillot is proving me wrong.
It certainly looked like it. Now Luminati is playing the Temur variant without black, which he chose because he felt it was less clunky, better mana base. But here the power of the Black Splash was showing itself.
Alright, so Luminati drew a Glory Bringer. I assume he's going to exert it.
Yeah, exert it on the Scarab God to make blocking less appealing. Alright, so let's see.
He didn't announce it just yet. He might have said it, but I don't see an exert motion just yet, because he didn't target anything. So I think he's not actually. Yeah, I don't think he's doing that.
Okay, that's possible. Still, if Vuillot gets back Whirler Virtuoso,
I think he has to. No, yeah, no exert, but there's the Whirler Virtuoso.
And then makes 1 blocker. Let's say the Glorybringer almost surely has to be chum blocked by the Topter.
Yep.
And then he can block a Long Tuskap and a Whirler Virtuoso.
It's gonna take 5.
So take 5. And then, but then Vuillot can untap with 8 mana available. Does he have double blue, double black? I see enough blue sources in his mana base. I see 1 swamp,
Ether hubs,
and an Ether hub, but no energy.
Yeah, he gets to spend it to make the Thopter, which he did. So he doesn't have any more energy.
But he can always bring back an energy generating creature with the first activation, and then use that energy to tap Ether hub for black.
Yeah, it's again, it's a close one. I thought it was done, but it is close. All right, so there's some trades. Sam down to 2. He still has it all to do here.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm a little bit surprised by the no exert there from the Glorybringer, because making blocking less appealing for the Scarab God seems like it would have been useful, even at the expense of not untapping Glorybringer for a turn.
Yeah, and it would have forced Samuel Vuillot to pick up the Scarab God, replay it, not have enough mana for an activation as well.
Yeah.
Unless he drew an Ether hub as a black source.
So Scarab God trigger on the stack in Vuillot's upkeep. It's still far from a done deal. This is close. If I think if Vuillot manages to stay alive for 1 or 2 more turns, then those Scarab God activations will almost surely be going to be good enough. But I think Luminati still has 1 or 2 turns to draw his way out of it with, let's say if there's another Glorybringer on top of his deck, he might be able to set up a lethal attack on the next turn.
Yep, so there's the upkeep animated, another Whirler Virtuoso, I mean he's up to 3 energy. Scries into, I think I saw a Glorybringer and a Whirler Virtuoso.
Wait, could Vuillot actually set up lethal somehow by reanimating Glorybringer? Because the trigger should put down Luminati down to 12.
Yeah, but he doesn't have. Oh, he does have energy now, so he can make like a mana. So if he brings back Glorybringer, that's 4, and 5 from the Scarab is 9. It's 13. I think he's 1. No, but I don't know if the trigger resolved yet. Did it? We'll find out soon enough.
I don't think so, but I'm also not entirely sure. If Luminati would indeed go down to 12 here, then bringing back Glorybringer from the graveyard should allow Vuillot to set up a lethal attack here.
But life, I don't see the life total changing, so I assume he went from 16 to 14, and not from 14 to 12.
Yeah, in that case, it would not be enough.
No,
Okay.
it's one short. Yeah, and I think
So
Vuillot just
close.
realized. I think he just made the math. He's like, oh, he put his hand on the table in frustration there. I think he's just going to hardcast another Vuillot. So because that, I think he just needs it because he has to block the Glorybringer and 2 tokens.
Yeah,
But
he just needs to stay alive for 1 turn.
Yeah.
The next attack, and then he will have the game locked up almost surely. So he can make 2 more top tiers, that's 6 blockers total. Suppose that Luminati draws a Glorybringer, then he has 6 attackers, turning those 6 blockers with 2 exerts into 4 blockers, which I believe is going to be lethal.
Oh, just a land for Luminati though, just a mountain.
Glorybringer might have done it.
Yeah.
But land is not going to be good enough.
No exert again. I think Sam should have attacked with the Sky.
Oh no! What am I saying? This is going to be.
It was lethal. It was lethal.
It was lethal in the air.
Ah, guys, we missed lethal. we missed. Chat saw the lethal. We didn't. Yeah, he was just one creature short, right? That's why he didn't exert, because he knew Sam Vuillot needed a lot more work to be done. All right, let's go quickly to the first match. You guys can enjoy this moment. We're fairly advanced in this one already. Jean-Emmanuel Depraz having a big board already. Rogue Refiner, Servant of the Conduit, and a bunch of good cards in his hand. And while Louis Bachaud played a bunch of stuff, he has no board for now.
Things are not going well for Bachaud at this point. His deck really needs to get out on board quickly and protect the key creature with Blossoming Defense. Still not great at playing from behind. Yeah.
I think, by the way, Sam Vuillot just missed lethal by not reanimating. You know, he should have first animated in his upkeep, should have animated the Vuillot to get some energy. And then once that resolves, animate the Glorybringer, so there will be 1 extra point of drain.
Yes.
And lethal.
That would have actually been enough.
He could have won the game.
Point. And he would have also been able to survive if he had 1 extra point of energy, because then he could have made 2 top tier tokens and activated the Scarab God. But yeah, he was just 1 energy short of doing all that. That was tight. Yeah,
it was. Now a Scarab God. Speak of the God. Or devil. Here's Louis Bachaud, and he played a Scarab God on already a fairly advanced board from Jean-Emmanuel Depraz. We'll see if this is going to be enough to take over the game. He has plenty of lands there, but Chandra, Servant of the Conduit, and a bunch of other cards already threatening it.
Yeah, only 1 Scarab God in the main deck of Bachaud. A 2nd copy in the sideboard. Still, this is one of his few ways of coming back from behind.
Oh,
if he blocks here, then Chandra threatens to damage the Scarab God, to delay activations for a turn. Then again, if you don't block at all, you're taking, this is 7-9 damage, falling down to 10. And looking at the graveyards, I don't see any Whirler Virtuosos there, so the best card to turn into a zombie is probably Rogue Refiner, which, you know, would be good, but not as good as Whirler Virtuoso. If you also don't block, then Chandra might activate, take you down to 8. This is like both blocking and not blocking are unappealing.
Yeah, and it looks like Louis actually has a Nissa Steward of Elements in his hand. And not great if you're behind on board as much as you are. Okay, so he blocks the Rogue Refiner. So at least if he's blocking the creature that deals the most damage. That makes sense to me. Even though I expect it to be shut down with the Chandra. But first, a Rogue Refiner, more energy, a Braid.
A Braid can also shoot down the Scarab God, and you can actually do it in your own end step, so that the Scarab God doesn't return immediately.
Yeah, a little hasty there maybe.
Yes.
He could also could have plus Chandra first before playing that, but alas, He returns the Scarab God, but Chandra at 6 now. And remember, the emblem is -7, so getting very close here. And with a clocked up board, it's all for Louis Bachaud to do here.
Well, you can make a new Scarab God, maybe also play land, a 2-drop as an additional blocker. But yeah, this is tough for Bachaud because he both has to play blockers and defend from attacks by the process creatures, but also has to turn the corner quickly and deal with that the Chandra.
Yeah, a land could be pretty good for Louis because he has hostage takers, so he could take a Virtuoso, so I'll play it immediately, and he would have quite a bunch of energy to create some Thopter tokens to defend himself.
Would be good. If only hostage taker could also take planeswalkers as hostage. Not sure how that would work flavor-wise, but
yeah.
But no.
That would be pretty cool. It looks like Louis Bachaud is just replaying his Scarab God, and that might actually signal that he's very close to losing here. An active Chandra potentially looming here. Let's see what Jean-Emmanuel Depraz is going to do here. He lost the first one really quickly, but now after sideboarding, he always managed to establish a very strong board position.
Yeah, and once you have a good board position as the 4-color energy deck, with in particular an active planeswalker, you are far ahead. So if the Depraz attacks with everything, then Bachaud is again put into the same situation. He might just have to block in order to preserve his life total. Still would take a lot of damage then.
Yep.
But there is not much that Bachaud can do, it looks like.
Yeah, now down to 9 here, fixing the life totals. Okay, just intact with the Thopters though.
Alright, so Depraz is going for the Chandra ultimate plan. That's also completely fair, because unless Bachaud has Vraska's Contempt specifically on the next turn, that Chandra is gonna go ultimate, and she'll shoot down 5 damage for every card that is being cast.
Yeah, so at that point, he just needs to not draw 3 lands in a row.
Yeah.
Or something similar. So you see Louis Bachaud now very much thinking about what he can do. He can animate something in his upkeep. I think he is in his upkeep. I can see his Blossoming Defense. I see a Rogue Refiner, Hostage Taker, Nissa. Not much else here.
Now, Blossoming Defense is also another reason for Depraz not to go for the attack with all creatures and then try to shoot Chandra with not try to shoot the Scarab God with Chandra afterwards. Instead, just going for more direct damage that cannot be dealt with via Blossoming Defense.
Let's go, Louis.
Okay. Yeah, even if Louis would reanimate Rogue Refiner, draw another card, he won't have enough mana to cast a potential Vraska's Contempt.
You're exactly right. So it looks like he's animating. Now he's thinking again. No. That was a slow roll and a half. In the end, decides not to use it, even though he was already readying mana for it. So then he draws for his turn. Okay, gets an Ether Hub, up to 5. What can he do here?
Well, if he cannot deal with Chandra this turn, then he just has to hope that the Depraz has a land in hand and a couple of lands on top.
Yeah.
And somehow do your best to beat specifically that.
Alright, so 3 mana. Rogue Refiner. Okay, so he's digging for the Vraska's Contempt. Can he find it? We don't see the card in his hand. I want to see the card in his hand.
He's keeping it close to his chest.
Yeah, very much so. And he looks like he wants to attack with his Scarab God. Okay, so he attacks the Chandra. Let's see if this works.
Well, I think the choice for the Depraz is going to be between, do I just jump it or try to double block it? Say with Servant and Rogue Refiner.
I think Louis Bachaud was just trying to sneak in the Scarab God, you know, unnoticed. It's like, What? You blockers? What are those? All right. I'll be doing some math. I don't think he drew Vraska's Condemn. He drew a Winding Constrictor. Now he's going to Hostage Taker a token here.
Okay, going for a token indicates that he might be able to beat one single spell.
Yep.
If he finds another way of dealing with the other top tier token on the next turn, and Depraz only has one spell, then he would.
Depraz has two. He has a Harness Lightning. He has a Braid, and that's 10 to the face thanks to the emblem from Chandra. And Jean-Emmanuel Depraz makes it into the finals of GP Warsaw. What an awesome ending of that match.
I mean, it's always sweet when a Planeswalker ultimate decides it.
Yeah, and a big one at that. Yeah. It's nice when your creature removal spells also deal 5 damage to your opponent when you cast this. All right, let's go back to the other match. Samuel Vuillot against Valerio Luminati. Valerio up a game on Samuel Vuillot, as we saw in the previous game. And now we have Servant on Conduit and a Vizier of Many Faces. That is actually a Rogue Refiner on Valerio's side against the Longtusk Cup, and a Rogue Refiner on Sam's side.
Vizier, one of the many possible sideboard cards in this matchup. After board, the games tend to get even more grindy, and Vizier of Many Faces is a nice 2-for-1 when the game goes long. And it can even be more than a 2-for-1 once you start copying Rogue Refiners. Now, there are no great blocks for Luminati, because Vuillot can turn his Longtusk Cup into a 4-4. So if that Vizier / Rogue Refiner is gonna block, then it's not big enough to take down the cat. So Vuillot is still ahead on board at this point.
All right, for now. Here is a Chandra though. Plus exile a Servant, a Luminati down to 15 here. And I imagine Samuel Vuillot is also going to rev up his Longtusk Cup with 2 energy in reserve. No, he's going to protect his Chandra. And I actually like this play, just because if Valerio Luminati has like a Harness Lightning or a Braid, it would kill his Chandra, because he could kill the blocker and attack for exactly 5. So this is a heads-up play that I didn't see at first.
Yeah, I guess Vuillot could have also attacked with both of his creatures, in the expectation that Luminati might want to trade off Rogue Refiner for the Vizier, and then his Chandra would also be semi-safe while getting in damage with Longtusk Cup. But yeah, if Luminati doesn't go for the block, then this is definitely a safer way of protecting the Planeswalker.
But if there's one thing that we know, Luminati has 4 Glory Bringers, and he's bringing the glory here. All right, so he's going to exert the Glory Bringer, kill off the Longtusk Cup. And I assume he's attacking the Chandra with at least the Glory Bringer, possibly both creatures.
Yeah.
Not going to find out, because there's a block, and there's Chandra going to 1.
So now Vuillot better have an answer for the Glory Bringer, otherwise on the next turn he might be facing 2 Glory Bringers.
Well, I saw Vuillot actually, he can use Chandra Plus for mana and play a Vraska.
That's one of the best possible answers in this deck.
Yeah, which we've already seen happen this weekend. It was awesome. And since it can happen again, makes me very excited. I mean, some of you has a bunch of cards, but he's eyeing it. It's like, yeah, this looks good.
Yeah. I thought these decks were about energy. So far, it just looks like these Temur decks after sideboard are just switching into a Planeswalker control deck.
Yeah. All right, so he looks like he's tapping a little bit too much mana, because the Vraska only costs 6, not 7. That's fine though, and he's actually going to kill the Glory Bringer right away. He's not waiting.
Oh, he's just using the mana.
And he's using the extra mana.
Yep.
Okay, sacrifices the treasure for green, and then plays a Servant of the Conduit. That makes sense. Just some of you shortcutting a little bit here.
And he deployed 8 mana worth of spells this turn.
Yeah.
All those abilities from the Planeswalkers that generate extra mana, pretty powerful. And now this is not a good position for Luminati. That Vizier, it looked so promising when it could have copied a Glorybringer. Right now, there's only Servant of the Conduit.
Maybe another one.
Alright, another Glorybringer.
Oh, why not? It sounds like another one. And he also exerts the servant of, on the servant of the conduit, and he takes down both planeswalkers in one fell swoop. I'm loving this. The Glorybringers are really bringing the pain train.
Yeah, they're showing their power in this matchup. Many people felt like, well, Glorybringer might not trade favorably against Harness Lightning, so it might not be the best 5-drop in this matchup. But once people are switching to more and more planeswalkers, as we see, haste on a flyer is a perfect way to answer it. Glorybringer is the planeswalker eater. It just munches on planeswalkers. And
the matter of fact, he's playing 4 Glorybringers main deck, but he also has Viziers, which are backup Glorybringers.
Yep. It's a plan, alright.
Yeah, it seems pretty good on this board. But he's like, I like tapping all of my mana, so I think I will do it again. I think Sam Vuillot is actually out of cards here. I don't think he's holding anything.
No, it doesn't.
Might be hellbent. Not where you want to be. Yeah, I see no cards near his hands anywhere.
I see the hand-on-head strategy.
It's usually not a good sign.
No, it is not. Sam can make 3 Thopter tokens, which is currently not enough to take down Glorybringer.
So, starts off with an attune though. Why not? 2/4 energy. What is he going to find here? Maybe a mountain? Or an island? It is an island. I think we're going to see... I
mean, Luminati has to be somewhat careful about his life total. If he would just go for Vizier, I'll get a Glorybringer, attack you for 4, go. Then he is facing 7 damage on the attack on the next turn. If he doesn't block, falls down to 8, facing a bunch of Thopters. And if Sam draws a good card on his turn, then that might get a little dangerous. So Luminati has a handful of cards. Looks like if he can survive for a couple additional turns, he will be able to put those to good use. So he needs to make sure to play somewhat defensively. Yeah. And we see that by copying the Whirler Virtuoso rather than another Hasty Glorybringer.
Yeah, I mean, he already had 4 energy, so this just means that he's going to get up to 7, so he can have some blockers for what's coming up, and the Virtuosos can just bounce out. Look at that, Sam Vuillot didn't even bother creating any Thopters for now.
Yeah, I like this play. You don't want to go for a damage race when playing a more controlling game. Is more likely to win you the game if you have a great hand full of spells.
Well, we just saw a game end with a Chandra emblem. I would love to see this one end in a Nissa Steward of Elements emblem. Ultimate, not an emblem, but an ultimate, because I see Valerio Luminati has one in his hand and he's got plenty of mana. I mean, some of you are still on 20, but that would be a nice finish to this particular match.
It's true. If Luminati adds another land, he can already ultimate Nissa, but
good draw from some of you. Drew Harness Lightning manages to kill off that Glorybringer right away, and now it's up to Valerio.
I mean, it's a relevant card, but given how powerful Luminati's hand is, Vuillot really needs something like the Scarab God or possibly another big 5 or 6 mana cards to get back into this. Yeah, and
Valerio just uses the opportunity to play a Nissa for 5 and immediately goes for a plus 2. Yep, there's the nicer die. It goes up to 12. All right, and he finds Magma Spray and Harness Lightning on top of his library. I imagine he's going to keep the Harness Lightning just because it's so nice with his Vizier posing as a Whirler Virtuoso, potentially creating more Thopters.
Maybe you actually want to keep both.
Okay.
Because one of the ways that Sam Vuillot can come back from this game is with the Scarab God. And having Magma Spray to exile it in conjunction with that Harness Lightning is a good safety valve against that plan.
Yeah, I think he hears you. He kept both.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
All right, so Vuillot goes for 2 Thopters here. Down to 2 energy. He's really hoping to draw a Scarab God. Maybe some other big hitters, but he already played a bunch of big planeswalkers. So I'm sure he's hoping he's drawing some live action cards. 3 mana, 5. Maybe a Confiscation Coup. Ooh, hello. That's a good draw.
It's decent, but it cannot steal planeswalkers, only artifacts or creatures.
I mean, it's going to steal a pretty good blocker.
Yeah, you can steal the Whirler Virtuoso and then start to pressure Nissa bit by bit.
Yeah. So I think Sam is asking, like, how much energy do you have to spend to steal this Vizier of Many Faces token?
That is a good question. So Vizier of the Many Faces can enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature, except if it was embalmed, the token has no mana cost.
Right.
So he, according to that, he doesn't have to pay any energy to steal it.
How nice. Steal your best creature and get 4 energy.
And get a free top turn, effectively.
Yeah.
Or, given that he had an even amount of energy, he actually gets 2 top turns as a result.
Right, so and there's an attack with the Virtuoso. I think we're going to see a double block on a Servant and a Thopter are going to take care of one of the Virtuosos. And I think the other ones might trade. Oh, okay, he's still going to play something here. No more energy left. I think he might have a... Oh, Chandra's defeat. All right, he brought that one in. That takes care of the other Virtuoso.
Decent.
Yeah, I like it. Yep. So that he didn't really want to let go of that. It's all right. So he's gonna kill. Yep. The Servant is going to trade with the Virtuoso, thanks to the help of the Servant. And yeah, Nissa's going to fall down to 5 because the other 2 Thopters came through unblocked. All right, Valerio. We know you have removal on top of your library. It is the Harness Lightning.
Yeah, well, the top card is Magma Spray.
He knows that.
Just using the 0 is not gonna help.
Yeah, so Attune It with Ether is the other card, and I imagine he might bottom that. He's still thinking about both.
Yeah, maybe he wants to bottom both.
Okay.
If he needs to use Harness Lightning this turn in order to protect his Nissa,
sure.
Then keeping that Magma Spray for the potential Scarab God is not gonna do much. And instead he would probably like to get a more impactful card.
No, he's keeping the Magma Spray, it looks like.
Okay.
I can see why. I mean, it can kill off a Thopter as well if he's worried about losing Nissa. And he's tapping 6 here. What is going on? Oh, River's Rebuke.
Oh, hello.
I mean, this works. Return all your tokens to your hand and swing for 2. Oh, okay.
This
I like.
This switches the match back into Luminati's favor in a big way.
Yeah, and Vuillot just has to draw spells because at this point he's just losing so much ground to the Nissa. He didn't play anything here.
There's just a singleton River's Rebuke in Luminati's sideboard, but we've seen this card do a lot of work over the entire weekend, breaking through these stalemates, and might actually be better than some of the other 5 or 6 mana cards that people had in their decks or sideboards for this mirror matchup.
Yeah, he found another Harness Lightning and a land on top. Just trying to figure out maybe when he can kill Sam Vuillot. He's going to bottom both. I like that. I think we might just see a Servant of the Conduit added to the board to just add more damage. There's the Servant. 2 removal spells still up. Those can handle even a Scarab God. And I don't see Sam Vuillot slow rolling any of that just yet. Okay, River's Rebuke. Okay, Nissa Steward of Elements here for 5.
It's a Nissa battle.
Yeah,
all
indeed.
Right. So, well, Vuillot doesn't have a good way of protecting his Nissa at the moment. He could go for a blind...
Yeah, he could
zero
go for
ability,
yeah.
But yeah, with a +2, Nissa may fall down to 3 loyalty, but she'll still stick around for another turn.
It's a good thing he didn't 0 because the top card was a Harness Lightning. He bottomed both.
No.
Will we see a Nissa ultimate on Valerio's side?
Yeah, he can use that to also just take care of Nissa and I guess attack Vuillot with the other one. So this is not necessarily an ultimate that decides the game, like we saw in the previous match. But
it usually does.
But yeah, you would get 2 5/5 creatures for the turn. That's pretty decent.
Yeah. He just has to figure out what is the best way to go about this. He actually goes for the minus. So he makes his 2 lands into 5/5 flies for the turn, or is it forever?
No, it's just for the turn until end of turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a shame, but that's probably more balanced.
Yes.
All right. So Nissa down on one side of the board. Some more damage added to Sam Vuillot's face, whose options are shrinking by the turn. See what Sam can come up with. Scarab God? Glory Bringer would be great. I don't know if he's playing any. Oh, he's actually playing 2. No, just a Servant of the Conduit. And we know that Valerio actually has a Harness Lightning and a Magma Spray still left in his hand, so he's relatively safe.
I'm also not sure if he is even interested in trading those for a lowly Servant.
Right. So plus on the Nissa again. Valerio's going at it again, building up the old loyalty counters.
Yeah, he has had a lot of turns where he was able to activate the Planeswalker.
Yeah.
And that is typically a good sign. And these Planeswalkers have been impressive post-board, as long as the opponent doesn't have Glorybringer. I think that is the key lesson from this match. Planeswalkers are very good, but Glorybringer is one of the best answers. Just hasty, evasive damage. Perfect way of taking them out, as we saw earlier on in this game.
All right, another Servant for Luminati. He's adding on lethal now. He has enough creatures to take it home. Just an Ether Hub and a Handshake. Valerio Luminati moves on to the finals. He's going to face off against Jean-Emmanuel Depraz. And we're going to have an energy mirror match here.
Yep, Temur Energy versus 4-color Energy. That is going to be the finals.
All right, that's pretty awesome. So we're going to have the Frenchman Depraz. He's the one on 4-color Energy, and I really like what Valerio Luminati was doing here. Just Glorybringers, Nissas, and big haymakers. He wasn't mucking around at all. Yeah,
it worked out perfectly for him. But I also want to mention some of the other decks that did well throughout this tournament, because we see a lot of Attune with Ether here, but it's not the only thing that happened. For example, we saw a nice Electrostatic Pummeler deck in the top 8 in the hands of Hannes Karem, doing something a bit different, which was cool to see. Also, don't forget that we had Martyr Vehicles and God Pharaoh's Gift in the top 8, who did well despite an increase in the number of Abrades seeing play.
Yeah.
So that's showing that those decks can even win when opponents are ready with a reasonable answer. They're not that vulnerable to Abrade. And what I loved yesterday was Lars Rosengren with his double Anointed Possession, then going for a combo kill involving Rootless Knave, turning every creature into 8 more treasure tokens, generating more mana, drawing cards, and eventually killing with Marionette Master, which was like in turn 5 of extra turns against an opponent who was at 1,000,000 life, and we had already essentially signed the result slip into a draw in our minds.
Yep.
So still lots of awesome decks that put up good finishes this weekend, but in the end it is Energy and, well, Attune with Ether, Ether Hub, and Rogue Refiner on top of the standings and in the finals.
Indeed. Since this is the last time you'll be hearing the two of us, because we're handing it over shortly to Simon and Riley. My favorite moment was following this tournament along with you guys, especially those Sasha Lusha fans who got 9th place with his awesome blue-black God Pharaoh's Gift deck. Unfortunately, just tiebreakers meant that he didn't make it in top 8, but he put up a fantastic performance. And you guys cheering him on really helped, and it made for a nicer experience. So that was awesome, and thank you guys for that. But we're going to hand it over now because the finals await. We have Jean-Emmanuel Depraz against Valerio Luminati, and it's definitely going to be an interesting one. Even though we've seen a lot of energy decks over the weekend, I expect fireworks in the finals. So Simon and Riley, after these messages, and thank you.